My family betrayed me in the worst way possible, and I can't believe how it all ended. I never thought I'd be writing a post like this. Honestly, I didn't even think I'd be telling anyone about this. But the truth is I can't hold it in anymore. I have to get this off my chest because what happened to me isn't just some ordinary family drama. It's a betrayal that shook me to my core. The beginning, a perfect family. It all started out like the perfect family. I was the oldest of 3 kids. My younger brother Alex was always the troublemaker but in an endearing way. My little sister Emma was the youngest, sweet, innocent and always looking for approval from mom and dad. We were your typical suburban family. Dad worked in finance. Mom was a stay-at-home mom. We had a nice house, nice cars, and on the surface, everything looked perfect. I never really questioned it. But looking back now, I realize how much of it was built on lies. I loved my parents. I respected them. Thought I knew them. But I didn't. The first red flag. A strange inheritance. When I turned 23, something weird happened. It wasn't anything major at first, just a few oddities that I brushed off as nothing. My parents started getting more secretive. They had a family lawyer come by the house a few times, which seemed weird to me, considering we were a normal family with no major financial issues. I shrugged it off, figuring they were just doing some estate planning. But when my father suddenly started talking about the will more often, I couldn't help but feel that something was off. My parents had always told me that everything would be split evenly between us kids. It wasn't just their assets, it was their love. Or at least that's what they made me believe. A few months later, Dad had a heart attack. It wasn't too serious, but he had to undergo surgery. I remember sitting in the waiting room with my siblings, feeling a strange mix of fear and anxiety. The thought of losing him never really crossed my mind. But after the surgery, things started to change. My relationship with my family began to fracture in ways I didn't understand. The betrayal unfolds. The missing documents. One afternoon, I was at home alone when I went into my parents' study. I know this sounds bad, but I had this gut feeling that something wasn't right, so I decided to snoop around a bit. I found a folder buried under some old papers and I couldn't believe what I saw. It was a copy of my father's will. And the contents? Well, let's just say they were nothing like what I had been led to believe. My name wasn't mentioned once in the will. Not even a mention of me as the eldest son. My younger brother Alex had been named the primary beneficiary of everything. The house, the bank accounts, the vacation properties, everything was set to go to him. I couldn't believe it. Not just because of the inheritance but because of the why. Why would my parents do this? They had always been so loving and supportive. They had always told me that I would inherit everything, especially since I was the oldest. But here it was black and white and I was left out entirely. I felt sick. But I also felt something else. Betrayed. The confrontation, face to face with the lies. I decided to confront my parents about it. When I brought it up, my mom's face went pale and she immediately started crying. My father, on the other hand, didn't say a word. It was like he was waiting for me to say more. Why am I not in the will? I demanded, my voice shaking. What happened? That's when the truth came out, and it was worse than I could have imagined. Apparently, when I was 17, I had gotten into some trouble with the law. Nothing serious, just a stupid mistake that I thought I had moved on from. I had stolen a car, and although the charges were dropped, my parents were devastated by the embarrassment it caused them. But what they hadn't told me, and I would only learn years later, was that they had secretly paid off a lot of people to make sure I never faced any real consequences. That's not even the worst part. The worst part was that they resented me for it. They never forgave me, and they decided that they would use my mistake as an excuse to slowly distance themselves from me. They had been plotting this for years. The hidden truth. Alex knew all along. I thought it was just a problem between me and my parents. But I soon found out that Alex had known about all of this for months, maybe even longer. I confronted him about it and he didn't even seem surprised. Yeah, he said nonchalantly, they've been planning to leave everything to me for a while now. They think you'll screw things up again. And honestly, I don't blame them. You were always the rebellious one, right? I couldn't believe it. My own brother had known. And he hadn't said a word. But it got worse. The final betrayal. My sister's role. Emma, my sweet little sister, was the one who told me the final piece of the puzzle. I had always assumed she was innocent in all of this, just a bystander in the family drama. But after confronting her about the will, she told me everything. Mom and Dad had used me as a scapegoat for their own guilt. They had been planning to cut me out of the family for years, but they never told me the real reason. The truth was, they were ashamed of me and they were ashamed of what I had done when I was younger. And Emma? Well, she had been promised a small inheritance once Alex got everything. She didn't care about the money, she just wanted to keep the peace. To her, it was all about keeping the family together no matter the cost. The aftermath, leaving it all behind. In the end, I walked away from the whole situation. I couldn't bring myself to stay in a family that had betrayed me so deeply. The thought of living in that house, under the same roof as people who had systematically torn me down for years, made me sick. I didn't want their money. I didn't want their pity. I just wanted the truth. And now that I had it, I realized that sometimes, the truth is too much to handle. I moved across the country and started fresh. I cut ties with all of them. I'm still in touch with a few old friends, but that's it. Sometimes I wonder if they miss me, or if they're just relieved that I'm gone. But honestly, I'm better off without them. I may have lost my family, but I gained something much more valuable. Peace. Final thoughts. What I learned. If there's anything I can say to anyone reading this, it's that sometimes the people we love the most are the ones who will hurt us the deepest. Family is supposed to be a safe haven, but it's not always that simple. The people who love us the most can also be the ones who betray us the hardest. And if you ever find yourself in a situation where you feel like you're being taken advantage of, manipulated, or betrayed, walk away. It's not worth staying in a toxic environment no matter how deep the connections run. I'm still healing from everything that happened, but I'm stronger for it. And I hope this story resonates with anyone who's going through something similar. You deserve better than what you think you're stuck with. Thanks for listening. Edit 1. Wow, I didn't expect this post to blow up like this. Thank you to everyone for the support. It means more than I can say. Edit 2. I've seen a lot of comments asking about how I'm doing now. I'm doing much better. I found new friends who actually care about me, and I'm focusing on my career and personal growth. Honestly, I'm happier than I've been in years. But I still can't forgive my family. I don't think I ever will. Thank you for listening. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe.